YPRES or YPRES is surrounded by canals, moats, whatever, and they're fortified positions and a defensive wall, never taken by the Germans. Sad to see how many people, and that's probably a fraction, remembered on these walls, from literally everywhere. Welsh, Irish, Australian, Indian, anywhere from the Empire. Looking at Welsh regiment there, corporal, sergeants. War didn't care, did it? Just killed everybody. And what for? Notts and Derby regiment, it just goes on and on and on. Lance Corporal, Oxford, Notts and Derby. Notts and Derby, Notts and Derby. North Lancs. Northamptonshire. Berkshire. West Kent. King Shropshire, Middlesex. As I say, it just goes on and on and on. Very sad. King's Royal Rifle. King's Royal Rifles, Staffordshire Regiment, Yorks and Lancaster, Manchester. The soldiers would have gone out under this gate up to find or fight the Germans. White sheets, there's plenty of places, but history. laden with history, I should say. And as I say, never taken by the Germans, so that's one claim to fame, I suppose, if there is such a thing. But when kids are not screaming, it's quite tranquil here, and it's only a 5-minute walk from the cloth hall, centre of Ypres. This is mirrored on the opposite side. We'll take a look over there. Come down on this side, the Australians, Stratford, Malden, just goes on and on and on. The waste of life. More Australians. As in then days, it's used as an entrance in and out of Ypres. Grenadier Guards. West Indies Regiment. Queen's Own. And there we cruise it every evening at 8 o'clock. They have the last post sounded here. And there's lots of ceremonies and remembrance services that go on here. This would have been the road where they would have been going up to the front line. In fact, there's the picture after the war. What it looked like before they built the gate, the Remembrance Gate. That was actually before the war, that picture. I'll give you an idea of the bombing that went on here. Shelling, I should say. To the armies of the British Empire who stood here from 1914 to 18, and those of the dead who have no known grave. Cross over in a second when the traffic lets us. Probably now. Yep. And again, just to give you an idea of what Ypres is like, well, you know, if you're trying to assault even any type of town, I'll get my teeth put in, even with modern warfare, and there's, you know, you'd have to pulverise the hell out of this bit on here. You've got to get across, you've got to get up. a bit like medieval times. You know, there'd be all kinds of things hurling into you. In fact, there was one of the turrets around to the south of here, round that way as we're looking, was a headquarters for the army, because it was more or less shell proof. But if you're a German that got this far, which they didn't, that's quite an obstacle to get across. You know, you're not going to swim and climb up there, are you? So you're going to try and get across on these bridges that span the town all around the outside. I'll take a quick look on this side. My own granddad was here during the war. That's probably why it holds a fair bit of esteem for me. Following in your own forebears' boot prints or shoe, whatever you want to call it, footsteps, boot steps I'd have said. Luckily enough he didn't die, survived the war, or I wouldn't be here now filming this. So East Kent again, Royal Lancashire, yeah, all over the UK and the Empire. Canadians, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, Indians, like I said earlier, Singapore, there's people from here, all over the world, some 50 countries they say. Duke of Cornwall, Duke of Wellington, Royal Sussex. I mean, Duke of Wellington's famous name in these parts of the world with the Napoleonic Wars. Canadian infantry, West Welsh, Royal Welsh Fusiliers, Wales Borderers, Scottish Borderers, Northern Ireland, Enniskillen, Gloucester, Cheshire Regiment, Canadian, more Canadian, more Canadian. Nice touch, it's even in braille. Scale model of it in brass by the looks of it. Excellent. There's also a cemetery down that way, Rampart Cemetery. A little bit windy up here, excuse me. It's not even a windy day today, as you can see by the tree. Queen's Westminsters, London Regiment, Cyclist Battalion, Royal Army Medical Corps, Labour Corps, Army Chaplains, Hertford, London Scottish, 11th Battalion London Regiment, Post Office Rifles, or GPO as it was called in them days. My grandfather actually worked for many moons ago. prior to the war and after it. Manchester, Southall, Manchester Regiment. London Rifle Brigade, Royal Fusiliers, London, Cambridge Regiment, Monmouthshire, a lot of these would have been PALS battalions where, you know, they all joined up, friends from school, etc. Moved down together, and that was the thing with the First World War. It would wipe out whole towns of young men. Royal Dublin Fusiliers. Rifle Brigade. Leinster Regiment, Argyll and Sutherland, Highlanders, Leinster Regiment again.
Everybody's in that property. Royal Irish Rifles. Durham Light Infantry, York and Lancaster, Coldstream Guards, South Staffordshire, so it's quite an emplacement. If you think of it, you're trying to shell your way through that. That would take a lot of pounding to bring this down to a level where you could sort of pontoon bridge across it. They never got anywhere near it anyway. This was a salient that was right the way up to the North Sea, right the way down. It jutted into German positions. They moved further south, but they didn't round here. Passchendaele. There's lots and lots of famous battles around this area. So we've got more Canadian infantry. Canadian infantry. Canadian rifles. Worcestershire Regiment. Gloucestershire.
East Surrey, Gloucester, and then we've just got a little bit of a wall to look down here on the left. You can tell it's lunchtime, can't you, with the traffic? A lot of Indian names up there, and Pakistan names. They would have been all India at one time. And then we're looking on here, Royal Fusiliers, Northumberland Fusiliers, Liverpool, King's Liverpool, Lance Corporal. Bhopal, lot of Sikhs.